So, looking beyond the initial shock or disappointment in signing Mitchell Trubisky to a 2-year deal, let's actually break this down. Trubisky went to Chicago, was a high draft pick in the Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes draft. Bears trade up to get him. He's paired with a offensive-minded head coach, Matt Nagy, who's viewed as being this forward-thinking offensive-minded coach is going to be able to get the best out of a quarterback. But he could not do what he wanted to do offensively because of Mitchell Trubisky's inherent limits as a quarterback. His inaccuracy, his poor decision-making, these kind of situations that limited Trubisky. He would have runs every now and then, 2 or 3 game runs where things would go well, but could never put together an actual extended period of time of playing at elite quarterback level. He did make a Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl's a fan vote. Don't use that to gauge Mitchell Trubisky's talent. It's not useful at all. So he did make a Pro Bowl because the fans voted him in. He was not the level of a Pro Bowl quarterback that year. Doesn't count. Then he spent this past year in Buffalo trying to essentially rehab his image, and now he's going to get another shot at least competing for a starting job. I assume that Pittsburgh's going to frame this. I mean, I haven't seen the money yet. I haven't seen how much money he's being paid per year. If they're paying him like $10 million a year, he's just going to be the starter. If they're not, if it's a smaller deal, maybe he'll compete with Mason Rudolph for the job. Either way, I think Pittsburgh should try to have the two compete against each other because I don't think either one's going to be head and shoulders above the other every game of the year or like every week. I expect Trubisky would be better than Mason Rudolph 9 times out of 10. But there will be some times where I think Mason Rudolph will be able to just top Trubisky because Trubisky will have one of his games that he always does. For Steelers fans, don't expect the offense to change too much. Trubisky is going to be able to get the ball into the mid-level of the field with better accuracy than Ben Roethlisberger. He's going to be able to push the ball downfield with hopefully a little bit better accuracy than Ben could at the end of his career. Obviously, having that older arm, the shoulder injuries, that kind of stuff. But Trubisky overall is not a great downfield passer. You're not going to get many accurate passes going deep down the field. Frankly, someone like Juju Smith-Schuster would be perfect for Trubisky, based on what Trubisky had in Chicago when he was playing at his best. But we don't know if we're going to have Juju back or not, especially if Kansas City wants him this time around. He'll probably go to Kansas City. And I know Philadelphia's been linked to him as well. So if you're Trubisky, I think you really have to, well, you're Trubisky, you want to have guys like Juju around, guys who are going to work well in short areas and mid-levels of the field. You know, some possession receivers are going to be good. He's got a bond with Allen Robinson. Well, I won't say he's a bond with Allen Robinson. He's used to playing with Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's more of a possession receiver, a high caliber one of that, but when he's healthy and engaged. Now in Pittsburgh, doesn't have an offensive line. The offensive line needs probably 2 or 3 new starters for Pittsburgh. So that's going to be a problem. Dotson, to me, is one of the only building blocks along that front. She's not going to have help there. Pat Furman's going to be a huge help. I think Najee Harris, just in the passing game, coming out of the backfield, is going to be a big help for Trubisky as well. But the good thing about getting Trubisky, and I'll say this, the good thing about getting Trubisky is that you're not going to draft a QB in this awful, awful QB class. It is bad. The idea of picking a QB in the first round is absolutely stupid for Pittsburgh this year. It would be dumb. It would be I won't say career ending, because Pittsburgh's guys have developed the reputations where they would stick around longer, but it would, in a lot of positions, it'd be career ending to take a quarterback in the first round this year. Like for Carolina, anyone in Carolina right now, Matt Rule, that whole regime, you'd probably be canning it if you took a quarterback in the first round. You'd be done. Pittsburgh's picking in the 20s. If you took a quarterback at that spot, you would still be essentially burning the draft pick. So, by getting Trubisky, you're hopefully making it so Pittsburgh will not be taking a quarterback in the first round this year. Save yourself some time, save yourself some energy, and hopefully get an offensive line. Get someone like Zion Johnson. Get someone who's a versatile player to cover multiple spots along the line, and hopefully start rebuilding that to the point where you can draft a rookie quarterback in the first round in 2023 or 2024 and have an offensive line in place to protect him. And at that point, you'll probably have to pay weapons like Chase Claypool or Deontay Johnson on extensions, but at least you'll have the offensive line ahead of them, which, is, in my opinion, is the mistake that teams like the Jets and the Jaguars made this past year with Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields in Chicago, not having the offensive line developed and ready for a rookie quarterback. When Baltimore brought Lamar Jackson in and started handing the keys over to Lamar Jackson, they had Marshall Yanda, they had Ronnie Stanley, they had Orlando Brown Jr., they had guys along the line to help facilitate that move. Pittsburgh does not have that right now. I mean, even Kansas City, when they first got Mahomes, the offensive line was not that bad. So, and now it's definitely not that bad in Kansas City because they've rebuilt it last year. That's something Pittsburgh needs to do, is fix the offensive line. Hopefully, by signing Mitchell Trubisky, you've done that and given your offense just enough firepower that if you help the defense out this year as well in free agency, you'll be able to stay in games and win games in that 24-point range. 24 points from your offense and a good strong defense will probably win Pittsburgh. I'll say somewhere between that 7 to 9 game range again this year. That's usually where they're going to be at going forward with the quarterback situation the way it is. I think it's probably where they're going to be at next year if the defense holds up and Trubisky plays to roughly the level that we know he can play to.